Welcome to the 2025-26 budget review session for the Good Spirit School Division. My name is Quintin Robertson. I'm the Director of Education for the school division. We initially held this meeting, or scheduled this meeting, for June the 24th. Unfortunately, timing was not spectacular, and we had limited participation because of June and the complexities of the season. We wanted to make sure this information was available, so we have since recorded this and will provide it for SCCs to review. At this moment, I want to acknowledge that GSSD sits on Treaty 4 territory. We know this is the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Cree, the Assiniboine, and homeland of the Métis. This land acknowledgement is just a formality for us here in GSSD. It reflects our commitment to inclusion, diversity, and reconciliation within our schools and communities. Also acknowledge that I'm representing the 11-person board, and typically we'd have trustees present during this, but as this is a recorded session, that is not possible. In the Good Spirit School Division, I also want to acknowledge our foundational statements. Our work is guided by our motto, students come first. This is more than a tagline for us. It's a promise to our families, to our students, to our staff, that every decision we make is in the best interest of student learning and well-being. Our mission is about building strong foundations to create bright futures, reinforcing our role in ensuring every student has opportunities, resources, and support they need to succeed. Our vision is learning without limits, achievement for all, and our values, belonging, diversity, learning, perseverance, and responsibility, are not just words, but action-oriented principles that guide how we serve each of our students and families. At this point, we typically go through our norms, and as this is a recording, I won't bother reading through them, but it is something that as an SCC or school community you may want to adopt if you haven't already done so. In GSSD, our strategic plan aligns with both board priorities and the provincial education plan. Our focus is on 4 key aspirational outcomes: high quality teaching and learning, meaningful engagement of students, families, and communities, healthy, sustainable physical and social environments, and clear, effective policies and procedures. As a board, we have been given direction, and they are committed to advocacy and relationship building, equitable staffing that supports schools, cultural competency and Indigenous education, student success and well-being, and leadership that builds on trust and connections with our community, our environment, our schools. Now, we know that funding needs to have a purpose, and our budget is a tool. It's not just numbers. It reflects our values. It enables the work required to meet all of our goals by allocating resources towards priorities and long-term outcomes that we have committed to as a division and the board has committed to. We are guided by purpose, and we are working towards a future vision. We do this through vision-driven staffing. So our staffing model is transparent, equitable, and responsive. It's rooted in fairness, but adaptable to each school's unique context. Later on in the PowerPoint, I'll go through how we're staffing our schools. It is formula-based with built-in flexibility for school-specific realities, ensuring every learner is supported. Our commitment is very clear that every student, every classroom, every day, because we know that students come first. We're also very committed to strong infrastructure and safe schools. We want to maintain modern, safe schools, safe bus fleets, and safe student access. We have strategic facility upgrades to ensure that our schools are safe, clean, functional, and future ready. We're modernizing our student technology, so we have a 1-to-1 Chromebook ratio for grades 4 to 12. We're actually under the 3-to-1 ratio for iPads for kindergarten to grade 3. We're upgrading staff hardware and software to improve instructional support. We have found operational excellence and efficiencies. Over 71, almost 72% of our budget goes directly to instruction, to the classroom. I'm happy to report that we have no reliance on debt, Major capital projects are funded through reserves or through ministry funding. We have a line-by-line budget review process that helps us find savings during the year and from year to year. And we are working on streamlining our workflows using things like purchase cards, digital tools, and integrated payroll. For those of you who love pie charts, and the accountants in the room certainly do, I wanted to show you the big picture. Our revenues are at $94.1 million. So we are a big business. That is an 8% increase from last year. Our expenses are at $96.5 million. So you can see there is a difference between expenses and revenues, and there is a projected shortfall, and this will be funded through the utilization of our reserves. Where does the money come from? We have about $2.8 million for facilities and maintenance. These are preventative maintenance and renewal projects. We have about $5 million worth of funding for a roof replacement project that the ministry approved for Kenora Composite. We have a little over $1 million for classroom supports. We have seen an increase in federal student tuition revenues. We have anticipated about 7 additional students in our school division year over year when we look at January projected enrollments. Now, we know that programs are receiving steady increases, so our pre-K and our early learning intensive supports program have received additional funds. Kids First and our community outreach program for the youngest members of our community has increased in funding. What's changed in our revenues? Our provincial grants have increased, and the vast majority of our money does come from provincial grants, over 95%. They are up about 13.9%. Our federal tuition is up about $421,000. We do know that interest rates are coming down, so our interest income has reduced. This chart will illustrate how we're spending that money that we received, that $94 million. We're spending 71.35% on instruction, so teachers, EAs, materials, and student services. We're spending about 12.99, 13% of our budget on plant. So that's operations and maintenance of our schools, cleaning, repairs, and utilities. We're spending about 9.23% on transportation, so bus routes, drivers, fuel, and maintenance. We are at 3.55% on administration, so that's central office staff, ensuring that people are getting paid, that people are being supervised and supported, so that's 3.55%. And governance, board operations, so things like communications, our School Boards Association membership, and governance oversight is at 0.35% of our budget. So the bottom line, we do have growing revenues to meet student needs. We're strategically using reserves for shortfalls. We're investing heavily in instruction, over 71%. We're avoiding long-term debt and managing our costs responsibly, and by doing this, we continue to put students first. You can see a little snippet around some of our major capitals. So information technology spending over $500,000, minor renovations $400,000, school buses almost $2 million, PMR, and our Kenora Composite School. So this slide is a good one. It talks about our full-time equivalency, our staffing. You can see the areas that are up and the areas that have been status quo. So total allocation for supports for learning is a little over $54 million. This represents about 57% of our budget, our $94 million budget. These investments reflect an unwavering commitment to student-first learning. So you can see that our teachers make up about $44 million. We have 445 if we're counting heads. If we're counting full-time equivalents, we're at about 408. This is a 23 FTE increase for this year. Our teachers that we know are our bedrock of our success. They are our frontline workers. This also encompasses our educational assistants. We're budgeting just under $5 million. For educational assistants, we have 163 headcount, just under 150 full-time equivalents. Right now, this is a status quo for this year. We are also working with federal funding and Jordan's principal applications to increase this allotment. We have other support personnel like educational assistants. You can see that that number has increased by 0.7. School counselors, almost 1.25 full-time equivalent increase to 17.25. Our Indigenous support team, we're sitting at an increase of 1.43. We have 12.44 full-time equivalent Indigenous support team members. Speech and language team, we have 8 full-time equivalents. This is increased by 0.4, and we've added a new mental health consultant to support school staff, to support students, to support nutrition programming, to support a myriad of initiatives, as we know that mental health and wellness is very important in our schools and for our students and staff. Again, this is a little redundant for some of the information that we've talked about earlier. Some of our increased costs this year have resulted from our collective bargaining with teachers. This is all provincially funded. So there was an increase of 4%, 3%, and 2%. Again, this is not coming at the expense of the division. It's funded through our grant revenues. We continue to invest in classrooms. So instructional spending has increased by 4.88 million or 7.8%. We've added new teaching and new support staff roles. We've had student-based funding for practical and applied arts, cultural programming, and professional development. We have a lean administrative group here at the office. Our governance spending is down by 12% overall. Our administrative costs stay consistent. We have a slight increase in spending based on wage obligations, but there has been no FTE increase. And you recall from the previous slide, we're spending about 3.55% on administration and under 0.4% on the governance side. Our well-maintained facilities, we have capital projects in the tune of $7.6 million. We've included the Kenora Comp minor capital project. We have, as always, planned to purchase 10 new buses to keep our fleet well maintained, as we have over 100 buses on our fleet, and that will maintain their good standing. Again, GSSD follows public sector accounting principles. Any reported surpluses are tied to capital assets and are responsibly amortized. We have no interest-bearing debt. In the bottom line, we are in a very strong financial position with the vast majority of our dollars going to classrooms. I won't spend a lot of time on this slide, but there are 2 documents that are on our website and can be accessed under the strategic planning section of the GSSD website. We have our Good Spirit School Division budget report. This is a comprehensive report on the information that was provided today. And then our annual FTE allocation process. This unpacks how we staff our schools. So this has been shared a number of times with the board, with our in-school administrators, with our Teachers Association, and support staff unions. Now, if we were live today, I would pull open this document. It is our GSSD school-based staffing chart. It unpacks every school and how their full-time equivalencies are determined. The staffing process does reflect our unwavering commitment to transparency, fairness, and meeting students' needs. So staffing decisions are based on a multi-step process, which includes projected enrollments. It also includes a number of factors and formulas, along with local determinations and local diversity factors. I'd be more than happy to speak to you about this individually if you or your SEC is interested, or you can speak to your administrator around the allocation process and how it's done. Now, at this point, we'd have questions. As this is a recording, that would be tough. So one question that we're often asked is around the utilization of reserves and how do we determine budgets. So imagine if you have a household budget and some of the money is set aside for specific things like your car payment or your vacation or a project that you need to have done. That would be called a restricted allotment, a restricted reserve. But you also have a little set aside just in case for unexpected bills, home repairs, or good opportunities that might come up. That would be what we would call an unrestricted reserve. GSSD's unrestricted reserve is that just in case fund. It's carefully managed, but set aside for essential things. For things like purchasing of buses, for things like capital projects that haven't been funded in other ways, for things that are just a little unexpected. So our unrestricted reserve is something that we tap into, and you can see from our revenues versus expenditures, we're actually spending more than we receive in funding. That would be an opportunity for GSSD to utilize reserves for one-time expenses that have come up that we would like to ensure happen. So if you go through this report and you still have questions or concerns, of course, I'm always available here at the division office. I have open office times throughout the school year, but don't be afraid to pick up the phone, give me a call or an email, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you.